Welcome to the next episode of Growth Minded Contractor. I'm back with Inky Johnson here. We just finished the Transform conference, and he spoke and lit up the stage in front of an amazing room of people who were growth minded in the contracting community, ready to grow personally and professionally, and just loved the time. If you just missed the last episode, go check it out. We talked about generational curses and family and breaking them and setting new levels in our family and our generations to come. And so I want to talk about with Inky. Welcome back, by the way.
My guy.
The spirit of mentorship. So that's one thing that I really want to, there's just, I feel like there's a lack in our industry of honor and mentorship. There's a lot of guys, learn from somebody, start their own business, and on bad terms. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of guys, who dishonor people in the industry who are doing their best to help them, whatever. So I learned this, and I think about, listen to your story about Trey. Trey, who you still meet every Monday morning. Met you. How old were you? You guys met?
Man, I was 7.
7.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that guy stepped in and loved you.
Yes, sir.
Spoke into your life, believed in you.
Absolutely.
And dude, you didn't have that before.
Oh.
That is so profound.
Absolutely, man.
And I don't know if people realize this, but as a man or a woman who owns a business and even has some family, you're a leader. Absolutely. Right? And there are people who aren't being led right now that need leaders. There are people who have not. There are people who have greatness inside of them who have yet to have anybody call out the greatness and the gold on the inside of them that they don't even quite see yet. That's good. And I don't think we're designed to do life without that father, mother, mentor, older brother spirit in relationships to help us go to the next level.
Absolutely.
And I'm noticing that you're speaking to a lot of guys out there. You have your own kids, but I think that you have a spirit of a mentor, and a father spirit that you carry to a lot of young men, right? Mm-hmm. And you're helping them, that greatness that's already inside of us, because I think we're divinely created, made in the image of God, right? So Amen. We're in His image, in His likeness, so we're already like Him, but we have this we born into this world, and all this barrage of things that try to just completely just cover that, and nobody can see it.
Absolutely.
I want to hear about this thing about mentorship and what Trey did for you, man. What he's done and continues to do. What other figures like that in your life are in your life now.
Absolutely.
And how our industry can become better at that. And then even if they're on the receiving end, like you have been, how can they continue to be on the receiving end? And I have some other points I'll bring up, but I want to just kind of go there for a second if you want to share.
Man. I think that's something that's extremely vital in terms of just a person's development. One of the most valuable things I've ever heard, especially in my younger years, was learn from the mistakes of others because you can't make them all yourself. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay, cool. How am I going to do that? I got to be connected to community or person that's going to help me do that. And so I just so happened in the early years when Trey signed me and my cousins up to play ball, quite naturally, he just became a mentor. And he showed me so much, not only through what he said, but just his actions. I remember this guy showing up at the school. I never would have thought in a million years he would have showed up to my school, because we were on two totally different sides of town. Dynamics are different, socioeconomic, everything was totally different, where he was and where I was, right? I was in Atlanta Public at the time, lowest performing public schools, state of Georgia. At the time, I never would have thought I would have came out in the hall one day and seen Trey Hurst saying, "Ink, what you doing? I talked to your mother, man. What are you doing?" And it impacted me so much because his presence, I was like, man, this dude showed up for me. Like not like just showed up with, hey, what you doing? Like physically took time away from his business to say, I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna check on this young guy, right? And I knew he had business to run, knew he had things to do, and he actually took time away and he did it. And so what it did for me was it gave me a level of responsibility and accountability to where now I don't want to let this guy down.
Wow.
Because he showed me that, no, bro, I ain't just talking, I'm invested in you. I had a teacher, same thing. Picked me up one morning before school, was like, bro, I'm gonna do this with you until you graduate. Was 23 years old, had just graduated college, started teaching in Atlanta, still talk to him every week. And so what I've tried to do from a mentorship aspect was have somebody in every aspect of my life, marriage, fatherhood, speaking, right? Different aspects to where somebody that I can talk to that's willing to hold me accountable and that I can bounce things off of, pitch and catch, and I just call it sharpening the axe, right? That I could talk to that's gonna help me develop as a man because it's extremely important. You think about athletics, you have a coach, you have a position coach, you have somebody that's gonna help you develop. And so if you get that in every aspect of your life, whether it's business, whether it's marriage, whether it's being a father, I think is extremely vital because it not only helps your personal growth, but when you help your personal growth, it drives all other phases of growth. And so I'm gonna tell you this, man, one of the most phenomenal things that happened this past year, bro, I'm going around, I'm speaking at different schools, and I go to Clemson. Dabo Sweeney, right? Dabo, my man, a lot of different coaches. I'm close with a lot of them. But I want to tell a story about Dabo because he did something in an unconventional way. And Dabo, he's having a meeting, and he's just talking life, right? And I'm waiting on the football talk, right? I'm like, when he's gonna get to the X's and O's, you know? He's talking life stuff. Hey, fellas, be a good man. It's how you handle this. Be a good son. Be a good friend. Like all this life stuff, right? And I'm waiting on the football talk, X's and O's. And I asked one of the guys, I said, is his meetings always like this? Like, does he spend like a heavy amount of time just on life, personal development, and then like a smaller amount of time on football? So if it's a 60-minute meeting, will he do 40 minutes, 45 minutes on just the person, and then 15, 25, whatever it is, 20 on the man? I mean, on ball? It's like, yeah, he does that all the time. And so I'm talking to him, and he was like, I believe if you take care of the person, the man, it'll drive the results in every other area of their life. So if I want them to be better football players, I'm gonna focus on their personal development. And so even when you think about business, life, marriage, if you're a better husband, your household is going smooth, your relationship with your children are going great, you're gonna be better at your career because the personal is in order. Oftentimes we go out and we wanna function and we can do well in business and do it great. And if the house, oh man, I'm so sorry.
Blooper reel.
I'm so sorry.
All good.
Right?
These are like waterproof pants, I think. So we're good.
But if the personal is not in order, we can do well in our careers and we can function and do well, but we're still not operating on the level that we're capable of operating at. Right? We can crush it, but we're still not operating on the level that we're capable of operating at. I'm gonna be honest. If my household is not in order, I can't speak. I can't bring energy to the stage. I can't be, as articulate. I can't do my thing if me and my wife's thing is not in order. If me and my kids' thing is not, I just can't function and be me. And so I get mentors in my life to help me get the personal in order so I can drive the business. And so I think it's extremely important, man.
Wow. So you have some mentors right now in your life, multiple that you call regularly.
Absolutely.
Man, that's awesome. So how about you? Do you have people that you're mentoring outside your family right now?
For sure.
Tell me a little bit about some of those stories and how they're receiving you and how that's going.
Yeah, a lot of young athletes that I mentor and a lot of young men, like around my kids' age, that I mentor. And I think it's important because when you work with people younger than you, especially young people, they haven't been infected and affected by the world so much yet. And so their perspective, their thought process, and their beliefs are still pure.
Impressionable.
Impressionable.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely. They're still open. They're still curious. They still believe they can do anything, which is beautiful. When you meet sometimes a guy our age or a little bit younger, it's almost like their belief system is jaded.
Yeah.
They believe, but to a certain extent.
Yeah.
They believe, but this happened. I don't know if I could do that, right? And so when you're working with them, it's almost like you got to go through several layers of, man, I want to get the man back. I want to get the guy back, right? And then we can attack everything else. Let me get the guy back with the mindset, with the purity, with the spirit. Let me get him back first. Let's dream again, right? I tell people all the time, man, it's so hard to just, as adults, for adults to dream.
Yeah.
Because there's so many limiting beliefs based upon situation and circumstances. It's like, bro, where did that go? You think about when we were young, like the curiosity, the spirit, the thought process, how we saw life. When you think about most people, you're like, bro, where did that go? Like, did life just hit you and hit you and hit you and you just lost it? And if you're not intentional about capturing it, you'll never get it back. And so you'll live your life feeling like you can't accomplish or do certain things, and it'll be 100% false because of some level of belief system, because something that happened. And so I think when you got mentors in your life, and when you're also mentoring, I think you're stretching and you're growing as a person, right? Because you're connected to both sides of the fence. It's like the seesaw effect. You're growing as a person because you're connected to two separate aspects of your life.
Have you ever caught yourself speaking into a young person's life something that wasn't what you like? You had a double take. You're like, wait. I just threw my own filtered thing into them.
Absolutely.
Like, whoa. Like so my son, right? So like we did baseball. We lived in Maui for the last 3 years, South Florida before that. Now we're in DFW. And so Maui's got a good baseball scene and football, but I was like, all right, we got to get him into baseball. So I did the whole like, I'd name drop where I played to get on the best team. Like I was like, it was such an ordeal, dude. Because those guys, they're like, all right, you're Howley, you know, like that's cool. But you know, are you? Because they're all mostly Hawaiian coaches, and now they're like family. Now they're amazing. But I went and coached, and just like we just had a great time. But the boys got really. We were baseball 5 nights a week. It was you know, it was a lot. My wife was like, this is serious. I'm like, I know, welcome to it. It's always gonna be like this going forward, trust me. But now we came here and like, I just feel the football in my blood. I'm like, yes, like where we're staying in our house in Arlington, there's a middle school and we can walk and go into the field.
Oh, I see.
So there's a track and a full on groomed field. And I'm like, I look at Lindsay, I'm like, bro, she's like, I'm like, you don't even know, Lindsay. This is awesome. So we got the ball, and I'm running routes with the boys. So it's like, all right, slant, button hook, you know, dig. You can see my face. You know, it's so fun.
No question.
And so my son Asher, my oldest one, got hands like frying pans right now. Bro. It's terrible. He'll get it.
I was like you, Asher. That's why I became a DB, bro. I had the same type of hand. I
just
couldn't
swat
catch a
it.
cold, bro. I'm telling you.
So this is so beautiful. He comes back after finally catching one, like 1 out of 9. And he's strutting a little bit, and he goes, Dad, you know, like, now I got to decide if I want to play in the MLB or the NFL.
Yeah. Love
He's like, he's like, and I'm like, I did that, and I almost said something. I'm just like, no, you can do it.
Yeah, man.
And because I was telling you a little bit about my father the last episode. Yeah, I love my dad too. He's amazing, and he always believed in me.
That's awesome.
You know, and I learned from the example, good and bad. But you know, what if your mentors don't believe in you? You have to then overcome your mentor. But what if your mentors do believe in you, and then it lifts you up, and then it just, every time you hear it, it's just a confirmation, not new news.
Absolutely.
And we need that, right?
Oh,
like,
no question.
like if someone comes to you, are you ever gonna be like, if someone's like, Inky, you're destined for greatness, to transform a generation of people you listen. Are you ever gonna say, I don't need to hear that?
Yeah. I will be honest, when I was young, and my teacher, the first time he came to me in my neighborhood, and he was like, son, like you got greatness in you, this, that, and the third. My circumstance was so strong that I was like, yeah, man, I hear you, but, and I'm in the 8th grade at the time. I was like, I hear you, but I was like, same corner you just picked me up from, my uncle wears a 2X t-shirt, gonna be on the corner all night, and I'm gonna wear that same dirty 2X t-shirt in your class in the morning. I was like, I hear you.
Bro.
I was like, but bro, we dealing with a real situation at the crib. And he was like, oh, you think I'm joking? All right, I'm gonna show you. And he showed up the next morning, he picked me up. He took me to the gym every morning. He was like, I'm gonna make you recite a proverb. We're gonna play a game of one-on-one basketball.
Wow.
Till you graduate high school. And it disturbed It disturbed my level of belief. It disturbed my system. Because when he first said it, I was like, bro, whatever, you're just talking, bro. Don't come at me with a cute quote. Like, man, my cousins don't eat some nights. You talking about some greatness. Like, we don't see you when we sitting there on the floor. And he was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna show you. Right? And he showed up. And when he showed up, it disturbed that pattern. And it was like, all right, I'm locked in, bro. Let's go. And it changed my life, man. I believe our lives change several times over.
Oh, yeah.
From encounters and people we meet, you know? Absolutely. Yeah, man.
Disturb the patterns.
Yeah.
You know, if you're out there being mentored, like, we need some disturbing.
Absolutely.
We need to be disturbed, right?
Absolutely, man.
I think that's so good. Go ahead.
Kobe said something. He was speaking at Alabama, and he said, edit your life.
Edit your life. I love that clip.
Yeah, you saw it? It was powerful, man, and that's so true. And I think people, mentors, or when you're mentoring, I think when you look at the totality of it, part of it is we're editing our lives, decisions, choices, business, marriage, family. You're constantly editing, right? For what works, what doesn't work, pulling, plugging. And so that's something that was extremely powerful. And I like to think of that all the time, disturbing patterns, editing my life, to keep putting things into perspective, you know? Absolutely.
So good. Yeah, and if you're a mentor, right, like, you know, you got to speak that type of love and demonstration. I've heard a leader say, call out the gold in someone doesn't see yet, right? So it's like calling out the gold. And I love when someone gives me like a prophetic word or some kind of word of encouragement that stretches me.
Absolutely.
Like, whoa, what? You see that?
Yeah.
What are you seeing? And then I like let myself kind of sit into that for a little bit, and then I kind of rest in it, and then I start to imagine and dream into that, right? And so I just think that's so cool, man. I love that you have that. What's on your, so as we kind of wrap this up, man, like what are some things people have spoken into you that, you know, you're still, that's been disturbing you, you know, that's been kind of leading you into the future? You know, you still got a lot of life left. So do I. I mean, we're really, it's exciting. And it's funny. It's like things happen exponentially when we do this, when it's happening. Absolutely. Right? It's like almost like the next level has 10 times the impact, but it was just one level up than the one before. But like if we're faithful with the edits,
that's good.
Right? If we're faithful with the edits, we were given more suddenly.
That's good, man.
Isn't that happening like that? Like,
that's good, man. That's good.
It's like we're faithful with those adjustments and those new beliefs just enough. And and I love what you were saying on the last podcast and in your talk. It's like who you have to be to meet the next degree of circumstances you're going to revert back to your old training. So you have to be disciplined in the awareness of what edits need to be made. You make them.
Absolutely.
But then when that becomes lifestyle for you, all of a sudden there's like almost like a flywheel where pop, something like big door opens. But it wasn't an accident, man. You didn't win the lottery.
Yeah, man.
Like it happened because why? Because like you ever seen someone succeed or you've succeeded? The ones who are really doing it, and all of a sudden they're on the news. And if you know them, they're whatever, they won the Super Bowl. If you know them, you're like, I'm not surprised.
Absolutely.
Right? Because why? You've seen them
Yeah.
Faithful with those edits.
Absolutely.
So when you're there, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
It never happens on accident, is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
It doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that what's some of the stuff that you're believing for you and you know going for? Like, I'd love to hear from that part of you.
Man, like I remember when I first started speaking, and I wasn't doing it. I was dabbling, you know, because I was just getting into it. So I was still trying to find employment, right? So I'm like, I'll speak over here, but I'm gonna do this. And I met with a guy that had been in the industry for a while, a guy by the name of Halloran, and he does radio and TV in Knoxville. He was nice, gracious to me and my family. And he saw me struggling with my belief system. He saw me dabbling, playing hopscotch. He's like, man, come to my house, man. Let me meet with you a little bit. And so I met with him. We were talking. And I was like, you got this house from speaking? It wasn't nothing crazy. It was just a regular house, right?
Yeah.
I was like, you got the cars in the driveway from speaking? Nothing crazy. It's just nice cars. And he's like, yeah, man. Got all of this. Like, God will bless, Ink. Like, you'll be able to do it. And he was like, as a matter of fact, like, God's going to bless you this way.
Wow,
like,
let's go.
You're going to have a house. You're going to be able to get some cars for your family. Like, you're going to be able to live, go on vacation with your children. If you go all in and you trust and you be obedient to what you feel God has called you to do, God's going to blow your mind, man. And I let go. And I was like, all right, I'm all in. Let's go. Faith, obedience, let's go. And, bro, when I tell you, what I do is so humbling, but the most humbling part of it is that I never imagined. Bro, I never thought, like the way I just always thought NFL, then I'll be able to do this for my family.
Right.
That was just my thought process. And the way God has blessed me and my family, man, it's like every day, bro, like I can't believe it. And people often think I'm joking in terms of just when I say like, man, it's like, but I can't believe it. Like, because I thought it was gonna happen one way. And everything that happened through a totally different channel that I had no idea. And I had to have the faith and obedience to trust it, but somebody had to first speak it.
Yeah.
And when he spoke it, I had to be open to receiving it. And when I did, it just, the floodgates open, man.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's happened in my life as well. Similarly, I was playing college baseball and my college roommate was a buddy, and his, you know, like I said, my parents weren't able to come out and watch me play. I played in Oklahoma. And and so every time after games, they're, you know, the parents, they would come watch the kids, and then, you know, my roommate would just invite me to dinner. So I'd go to dinner and stuff. And then he would have like a bunch of new clothes, and I'm like looking at my clothes, like I'm wearing a baseball shirt and shorts every day. Like I don't, you know, I got a couple of like, you know, you should have seen me when I got my signing bonus. I spent too much money on clothes because I wanted new nice clothes. But and he just looked at me one night and he's just like, hey Ryan, like everything you want, you know, that you want, like you're gonna have all that and more, like all that stuff. And I was like, really? I thought maybe signing that next year, my junior year, or making it to the big leagues was the only way that would happen.
Wow.
And that was all just a hope, because it's like so hard to make it.
Absolutely.
I had no other route, no other constructed pathway for me to be successful. It was completely missing. There was no success examples for business in my family, none of it. So I was just like, wow. And I just felt that life. And then there's a recent one said, hey, Ryan, he's a mentor I met on Maui, and he's a dear friend, and he's like, I'll be the least surprised person in the world when you sell this business for like $300 million.
Wow.
And I was like, that's just stretched me.
Wow.
So I'm not sure I'm believing that right now. Wow. But I'm gonna entertain that for a second. I'm gonna speak that.
Absolutely.
To my wife.
Yeah, man.
And see what she has to say.
Absolutely.
And is she with me?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
You gotta do that.
You know, and then like, are we? Yeah. Like, so when stuff starts to happen and people feel the love or feel the fruit of what you're doing, you're not quite surprised you're validated because other people have spoken into it, but yet at the same time, you're like, I can't believe it too, because this is so good. I can't take the credit. God be the glory. Thankful for mentors. Can't do this alone. Let's keep circulating this amongst one another. And so good, man. Well,
and look, let me say this too,
Yeah.
right? Because what you just said was so powerful, and it made me think about something. I believe also those moments, like you said, he said 300 million. You're like, oh, okay, right? And I've had moments like that too, to where somebody's like, man, one day you're gonna make this per speech, or somebody's gonna be willing to pay you this per speech, and I've been like, wow, okay. I think sometimes God sends people, right, and speaks through them into our lives, because God knows that right now we're not thinking on that plane. But when somebody says it and we entertain it, it's like, okay, cool, I hear you, right? And I think it's so important when we hear it to be open to it. Like you was like, okay, got it, boom, right? And so sometimes I think it's God sending that message through different people to get our attention.
Because he's a good father, and he believes in us more than we believe in ourselves, right?
Amen, brother.
That's good, man.
Amen.
All right, well, that's it. Check out more episodes of Growth Minded Contractor. Inky, you got to catch a plane. Thanks, my brother. Appreciate you being here.
It was an honor, man. Thank you, bro.
Let's go.
Pleasure.